The following podcast is improvised satire and all characters are fictional.
My first guest is the official year-round caretaker of Jabez Rock, the privately held secret island in the South Pacific that belongs to Hogswood Cooper CFO John Pimford Jr. The island isn't on any map, and my guest is responsible for upkeep on the mansion, outbuildings, grounds, horses, docks, and boats that Mr. Pimford keeps there. In his spare time, he invents constellations. Please welcome Waylon Deets. Hello, Waylon.
Hello. How are you doing, Dean?
Good. Bring that a little closer to your mouth.
How are you doing? I'm sorry. I'm new at microphones.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't imagine you have a whole lot of connection to the outside world. Thanks for joining us, by the way. It's got to be hard for you to get off the island for a period of time, yeah?
Of course, yeah. It's nice to see. It's nice to see buildings that aren't the one building that I see.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's nice to see people and faces that aren't the monstrosities that I see normally.
Right.
So
you've got a lot you're looking at. You're looking at a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous mansion and all the outbuildings associated with it and the horse barns and all of that, but then also the docks and the boats. And you are the only person on that island for most of the year. He comes in, swoops in a couple days a year, but you're kind of there all the time, huh?
Yes. Yeah. I'm there, and I'm there with the horses. So I stay and I talk with the horses. They talk back.
Oh, wow.
They tell me their secrets.
Wow. You must really develop a bond with horses if you don't see any other people, huh?
Absolutely.
I'm just going to ask you to bring that mic a little closer to your mouth.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. They're just, these technological wonders are very new to me.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to insult you or anything. I just the technology.
That's okay,
I understand. Yeah. So you're do you get lonely when you're there all the time on a desert island, essentially by yourself?
Well, like I said, the horses definitely keep me company.
Yeah.
But really, the ones that keep me company are the chimeras.
Chimeras. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, they're the horrible mutations between man and beast that my employer keeps on the island.
Wow.
And a lot of my job is to, make sure that they're ready for when he wants to hunt them.
Wow.
Provide snacks. So that they're nice and plump.
Interesting. Wow. So there's acreage on the island, too, that's just for hunting strange and unusual custom engineered beasts.
Well, they're also for golf.
Oh, the acreage is, not the beasts.
I mean, they're pretty good at it. They they're pretty high handicap, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Or low handicap. I don't know. Golf rules, am I right?
Yeah. Well, that's probably not something you need to concern yourself with, right? Because you're not really playing golf, unless are you playing by yourself?
I mow the lawns a lot, and
sure.
I avoid the beasts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look them in the eye.
Okay.
Or the eyes. And so, I will mow the golf lawn.
Yeah.
That's what they call them, is the golf lawn.
I mean, this is the crazy part, I think, about being the only person on an island and almost never getting off of it, is you can name anything you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I named the mansion building the golf lawn.
The golf lawn?
Yeah.
And so you've named the building the lawn?
I named the building the golf lawn.
Okay.
I named the golf lawn the golf lawn.
Oh, okay.
I named the horse stables the golf lawn.
And how do you keep track of the difference between the two? I guess you're not saying it out loud to anybody, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's mostly in my head.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Sometimes
it's like in Chinese when you have different pronunciations of it will change the meaning.
The man knows everything about the pronunciations of Chinese language, but nothing about a microphone.
Yeah.
So amazing. So you're really just sort of in your own world all the time, every day. I wonder, this seems like an absolutely just an incredible amount of work for one human being to do. And I know that, Mr. Pimford sometimes will give you absolutely no warning at all. He'll just fly in for the weekend or whatever, and everything has to be ship shape, right? So you must just be constantly working your butt off, making sure that this place is perfect for him. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's that grind set. I gotta stay on my grind set.
Yeah.
Gotta just be a Sigma male out there is really important.
How do you motivate yourself when there's no one else to sort of scream in your ear, do it harder, do it better, right?
I am definitely my own supervisor in that I like to imagine that I am a prisoner inside of my own mind, and there is like a guard who can see my every action all the time, and I'm also the guard. So I will see myself sitting, and I'll say to myself, maybe I'm being watched by the cameras that I have installed. And so I will yell at myself inside of my own mind, get back to work,
Right.
You'll never amount to anything. Your mom was right about you. And that I find is very motivating. And also the deadly chimeras. It's important to keep them well fed. That motivates me to keep them well fed so they don't, feed on me.
Right. No, yeah. I guess when your life is in danger, that particular task would be something I would never miss the opportunity to make sure that they were fed. But I guess,
And in a sense, all our lives are in danger because if you ever stop working even for a second, you might become homeless or out of your health insurance.
Right.
Which it's the good system. It makes sure that you work all the time.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you will die.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way the system is set up for a reason, because otherwise, if we give like social safety nets to everybody, then everyone would just sit around and eat pineapple all day and never work. And then how would the trash get taken out?
Yeah. I use my chimeras as that. His chimeras. I don't own it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nothing on that island really is yours, right?
Not even my dignity.
I mean, the only thing I would say you probably can claim ownership over is those little voices inside your head, those characters that you've developed, that rich inner life that you have that keeps you motivated, that screams at you, all of that, right? That's yours.
And in a sense, I inherited them.
Did you?
From
Mr. Pimford or from your
Yeah, I owe him everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you model some of those people in your head on him?
Yes, definitely. There's a little Pimfret inside of me and inside of all of us.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you spend time training with him? When he comes to the island, do you have to make yourself scarce or do you have to make yourself available? How does that work?
Well, he doesn't really like to have me around, so I'll go into my hole. And it's
an actual hole. Is that what it?
Yeah, no, it's an actual hole. It's where I spend most of my non-work time, meaning the 20 minutes per month. And it's a nice, cozy hole in the ground that has rocks and other things that I can play with.
Are you protected from the elements, at least? In that hole?
No. Why would I be protected from the elements? No. It's a hole.
And you're clearly, it's like you
on my head.
Obviously would not want to trespass on. Your job is to clean the mansion. You don't have a.
I have never been inside the mansion.
Well, how do you maintain it then? How do you know that it's going to be clean the next time?
I hope. I usually just hope, and I. Sometimes I'll look inside and I'll say, "Oh man, that looks dusty."
I can't imagine he's satisfied with the quality of your work if you're just allowing the mansion to go uncleaned, essentially.
No, he hates it.
Yeah.
I'm on my last legs for sure.
I see.
Yeah. He took away my hole for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, until you maintain the house, you won't be able to go back in the hole. And I said, I'll never go in that house. It's your house. I'll never go inside.
You're almost too deferential. Like he's trying to get you to clean the house and go in the house. I mean, he's not giving you a guest room in the house or anything. So I guess, maybe you have this sort of dysfunctional relationship whereby, you won't go in the house out of deference to him and he won't give you a place to live. And then summarily takes away your hole. This seems like a relationship that's sort of doomed to fail. Does that seem that way to you?
I mean, I think that in a way, all relationships are doomed to fail.
Yeah. Just like we're all working until we die.
Just like my marriage.
Oh, you are married, or you were?
I was.
Okay. I'm assuming that ended before you went to the island, or was that what precipitated it?
Yeah. I mean, I had been married for a while, and we were caretakers together. And I was a caretaker for a hotel.
Oh, okay.
And I had a bad drinking problem at the time. And we were caretakers at the hotel for several months, and then sometime later I came to an island. And I don't really recall those months. But I do recall my marriage failing at some point in there. There was an ex.
There seems like a gray area in between those two places, huh?
Yeah. We know what they say, all work and no play is what you should do.
I see. Yeah. It's, have you seen The Shining?
What?
There's a film called The Shining, and it's kind of all about a man who's all by himself in a place, and he sort of slowly goes insane.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Although I think he at least has his family and ghosts, I think.
What I would give for a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, I would take a ghost, that's for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. So, one or two more questions, then I want to get on to my second guest here.
Sure.
How do you get on and off the island? I know it's very remote, and it's not even on Google Maps. It's like very private.
Yeah.
So how do you get to and from this island in the middle of the ocean?
Well, first of all, Google Maps is the devil, so it's good that we aren't with Google Maps. Usually what happens, and by usually I mean the twice, the one time I went to the island, and then this time
coming off. Yeah.
I will go to a nondescript location, usually a Jamba Juice or like a Buc-ee's, and I'll just close my eyes, and then someone will come up and they'll put some chloroform over my mouth.
I see.
My favorite, tastes delicious, and then I wake up, and I'm there.
Oh, when you said my favorite tastes delicious, I thought you meant that it was flavored chloroform.
It is. It's punch. It's fruit punch.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess if you're meeting at a Jamba Juice, they probably have all sorts of fruit essences there.
Yeah,
the chloroform.
I don't like matcha flavored.
No, who
chloroform.
does? I don't understand the popularity of that.
Who are you helping?
You don't want chloroform that tastes like grass.
No.
Yeah.
I smell grass enough, plenty. Thank you very much.
Sure.
If they don't have the fruit punch chloroform, I'll take the grape.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like when you go to the dentist and you have to choose cinnamon or mint.
Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers.
Sure. Well, that makes sense. I mean, they have to make sure that nobody knows the exact location of this place.
Absolutely.
I understand.
Yeah.
And it says that your hobbies, I ask everybody for their hobbies, but yours are that you make your own constellations, that you make up your own constellations.
Absolutely.
Which I guess makes sense because you don't have access to much else, right? Other than the night sky.
Yeah. The night sky is very rewarding. It was... it was the first television, so
that's true, yeah.
Everyone can find some fun with constellations.
Are there certain ones that could you share one or two with us? What are the constellations you're
They're
inventing?
mostly Pimfred related.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
your
like
boss.
Pimfred's Dipper, or like Pimfred's Belt, or like Pimfred's Snake, or Pimfred's Sagittarius. It's very. I have a theme.
I have a hard time really gauging whether or not you have great admiration for or fear of or hatred of Pimfred, or if it's sort of a mix of all of them. Because it does seem like with the constellations all being Pimfred themed, and then also you being afraid to go in his house and all that, like what would you say, how would you say you feel about your boss?
That's a good question. I think we have a really, classic and ideal employee, boss, God King servant relationship.
Sure, as it should be. That's sort of hierarchical. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's as it should be, and it all is in its place.
Yeah. Is there any chance for upward mobility in this job, do you think?
I think I have as much upward mobility as the average American does, which is none, and we shouldn't want it.
Gotcha.
So...
Well, this is all fascinating, and I will bring you back a little bit later here, but I have to get on to my second guest. Can you stick around?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll make sure no one chloroforms you in the meantime.
If they do, could it be fruit punch?
I don't make the rules, but I'll see what I can do.
Nice.
My second guest today is a social media queen, but first let's pause and hear a quick word from our sponsor. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we're back. I'd like to remind you at this point, as I do every show, that I, Dean Ardenfell, am not and have never been an employee of Hogswood Cooper Media or any of its subsidiaries. Okay, we've been talking to Waylon Deets, year-round caretaker of Jabez Rock, and now I'd like to bring in my second guest, who works for a totally different subsidiary of Hogswood Cooper. She is a social media manager for Cooper Oil Worldwide, one of the largest oil and natural gas companies in the world. In that role, she is responsible for creating and executing campaigns that highlight alternative truths about all the good her employer is doing for the environment. In her spare time, she makes tire swings for her family members. Please welcome Edie Lapose. Hey, Edie.
Hi, Dean. It's so nice to be here with you.
Oh, it's great to have you.
All right, now we're cooking with gas.
Oh, boy. Touché.
All right. Oh, just real quick, I just want to slide a little something in. I was having such a fun time listening to Mr. Waylon Deets, and it's great to know that he is in fact real. You know, we hear so much about whether or not he's real, but I would like to just mention that all of his opinions are his own and are not a reflection of Hogswood Cooper Media.
Oh, that's
Thank
of
you
course
so
it is. Yeah,
much.
and it's so nice of
you
you to take that kind of concern for your parent company, because I know you work for Cooper Oil, which is held by Hogswood Cooper.
Oh, we're all a family. That's why they call it a parent company.
Right, of course, yeah. It's interesting, and I'll bring him in a minute to talk about these claims. But what were you saying when you said you weren't sure he was real? Like, I know a lot of people think the island might not be real, but what about him?
Well, you know, we're a big family, as I mentioned. A lot of us get together around the holidays and, you know, share stories. Maybe if we're feeling a little fun and fancy and free, have a little eggnog, you know, just some fun traditions. And, you know, for some reason, he never quite makes it. Never makes it out, you know, but I know it's because he's dedicated to his job in the island. And, you know, we all love all the Coopers so much. It doesn't matter which subsidiary,
of course, yeah,
that we're a part of.
That's a hard ticket to get. I've tried to get in there and they won't let me. That big parent Hogswood Cooper annual party where anybody who works for one of the subsidiaries gets an invitation and they all get to come.
It's very sweet.
Yeah,
well, maybe we can do something special for you this year. Let's
wow,
see.
I
Who
would
knows?
dare not even dream of that. But let's get to your job. You are a social media manager at this big oil and gas company, and you're doing all this great work. I've seen some of the videos and some of the social media, and it's all kind of about how misunderstood your environmental policy is and what great things you're doing for the environment, right?
Yeah, well, it's glorious. I mean, my whole job is just sharing the truth. You know, there is so many false facts out there.
Right.
There is so much to correct. You know, nobody knows what's up. There's these deep fakes with this science they're claiming.
Yeah.
And we have science.
Do you think scientists are that the left is creating deep fakes of fake scientists to say things against your company?
You know, I'm not going to say that because I'm coming with love. You know, I just think we need more love.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to connect us, and that's what's going to save all of us in the planet.
That's so Christian of you.
Oh, well, you know, I just, it's really beyond a religion for me. You know, like I left, right, up, down, you know, Christian, Muslim, whatever.
Yeah.
I am just here to live a good life and to help others do the same and to warm their houses and keep their children fed. That's all I want.
Right.
That's all we all want.
Of course.
At Cooper Media.
That's of course. And if we took
Oil.
If we took oil and gas away tomorrow, then you know how many people would freeze to death and starve, and everybody wants to put up a wind turbine and kill birds.
Tell me about it, Dean. You know, I like to always say, what is more natural than natural gas? It's in the name.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, you tell me who doesn't have an uncle who will tell you plenty about natural gas. You know, I don't like to get too explicit out here.
Wow.
But I'm saying if it's something that you grew up with, it's something that you're comfortable with, and it's something that's good for you.
Yeah.
That's how that works always.
Yeah. We all have some personal experience with natural gas. So, you know, some of the things you're saying, you're saying some of your videos are claiming like, oh, we don't do that. We have a low carbon footprint. We don't flare our oil fields. We're going to be Paris climate accord by next year, and stuff that's like objectively untrue. But the videos you post are really friendly, and I mean, so that's what really matters, right? Is that you're connecting with people, whether it's like scientifically exact or not.
Well, I think it is scientifically exact, and we have at least 5 scientists who will back up all of my claims.
5 whole scientists?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, 5 wonderful scientists. And
so
they're
right on the payroll there at Cooper Oil.
Well, you know, it's only right. They do so much work for us. It'd be rude for us not to pay them. You know,
of course,
I always say, why would I flare my fields? I don't even flare my yoga pants. You know what I'm saying? Call me old fashioned, but you know, those are the kinds of things we put on our social media because the people need to understand, they need to relate. And like I always say, we are not scared of science. Our science is just saying different things than your science.
Right. Yeah, and those I like a brand that like when you go to their Twitter, it's funny.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys have that. Try. Sometimes you'll talk back to some scientist and you'll
do a good old bless your heart.
Yeah, that's so fun, right?
Yeah, because it really is incredible what people will say nowadays just for clicks, right? Just for clickbait.
Yeah.
And we're out here trying to do the good work of the people.
Yeah.
And the Earth is quite large. We don't need all of it. That's all I'm trying to say.
We don't need all of the Earth?
No.
Yeah.
There's plenty.
Yeah.
There's plenty. So let's just dig right into it. It will be fine.
Sure.
And we will thrive.
Yeah.
It's a win-win all around.
I imagine that's comforting for people, too, because they're getting all this screaming and yelling and uptight stuff from the left and all their scientists and stuff about how the world is ending and all that. Isn't it? Wouldn't it just be nice to think, oh, there's plenty to go around and we're going to be fine.
Yes. And I
it's so
think
comforting.
Objectively, it's true. I mean, I don't look around personally and see anyone really suffering ever.
Right.
So that must be reality for all people,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that you would extrapolate everyone else's experience based on your own lived experience.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I mean, if you're not going off a lived experience, what you see with your own two eyes, then you don't even know what you're looking at. Let's talk about AI.
Oh, wow.
Let's talk about all the silly things that they can make people see nowadays. These AI art that make you look like you're wearing something that you never wore.
Sure. Yeah.
Or, the deep fake video. So it's hard to know which way is up. So you have to look at the science. And we have 5 scientists to look at, and everybody else, I just think, I pray for them. I do.
Well, and it's nice to, like people keep saying, do your own research, and but you got to know who to look at.
Only these 5 scientists are the ones that you can look at. Yeah,
right,
you get it, Dion.
Well, and when you say do your own research, it also has to do with looking around. And if you're not personally suffering, then that's a pretty good baseline for how things are going.
Right. I mean, I could show when I have a hard day. Like I can show, I got a flat tire the other day. A flat tire.
Oh, a tire.
On my car. Yes, sir.
I gotcha.
And
we're getting to the tire swings, I can tell.
And, I had to drive my spare car for a week.
Wow. Oh,
a whole week.
What a pain.
And, I could have put that on the social media, but I don't need to burden anyone with it, right? Life is hard.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So we can just do our best and mind your own P's and Q's and just drive your spare car when you need to and stop whining about it. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, that brings me to my next question, which is you make tire swings for your family. What an interesting hobby that is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I really see tire swings as a metaphor for life, because you really got to let go at the right point. Otherwise, you're going to fall and die, most likely. You hit the rocks if you're swinging out. I like to make the ones that swing out over a little watering hole.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then you got to drop at the right point. So that's really what I see when it comes to oil and gas.
Okay.
We are at that point. We are still on that upswing. If we drop oil and gas too soon, we are going to hit the rocks and we're going to die.
I see.
And if we let go too late, we will also all probably die.
Right.
So we're trying to get to that sweet spot, but we're not there yet.
No, you're saying, your industry is saying, if I can follow the metaphor, which is a little difficult for me, you're saying that while all the left is saying we've already gone past the point of no return and we should be letting go lest we hit the rocks on the other side, you're saying we haven't even reached the midpoint yet. Everything's going to be fine. Wait until we've made a few more $1 billion and then you can let go.
Well, you're quite close, okay. But once again, I don't mean to say anything negative about any lefts or rights, right? I don't see it. I don't see it that way. I just see people.
Yeah.
And all people will splat if they hit a wall too hard. So if you're up at the top and you let go at the right point, you jump into that cool watering hole, and life is beautiful. And all I'm saying is we gotta wait, and oil and gas will take us to that point where then we let go and free fall into the beautiful, cool waters.
Yeah.
Or at least most of us.
Yeah, of course. Most of us, yeah. And right. And us hitting the wall on either side
is when you don't use oil.
That's I say interesting. It's I was thinking of the banks on either side as more of an environmental catastrophe and unlivable planet.
Oh, Dean.
But like I said, the metaphor is confusing to me. So, but
it's okay. I know I'm a little complex.
Do you only make these tire swings to serve as a metaphor? Like when you give them to your 9-year-old nephew, do you give him a speech about the tipping point?
Often, yes. Like I have little printouts I give on the Christmas cards.
And you're like, this is a metaphor. Yeah.
Well, I just want everyone to know where we're getting the tires from. It's
the tires come from.
Well, I mean, financially, right? Who is paying for these tires?
right.
Who's paying for their joy, right? You can't lick your gift horse in the mouth. You can't bite the hand that feeds you. So I want everyone in my family to know, and so we can all support and all be united.
So Cooper Oil pays your salary, and you use that salary to go out, and a portion of that salary to go out and buy brand new tires. You don't recycle tires, obviously. You buy them brand new.
It depends.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, like on my spare car, if I have a present, you know, and I haven't had enough time to pick up a tire, I'll just, you know, maybe take a spare, right, from my extra car if I'm in a pinch. But I don't like to admit that. You know, that's a little embarrassing to not be prepared for the holidays. But anyway, it's just a fun little hobby. It's just a little craft. They're quite popular on Etsy too. You know, who doesn't love a tire swing? It's wholesome. It's sweet. It's just like oil. It's just like natural gas. It's right in your backyard, and something we should all be doing.
Something we should all be doing. That's fascinating. So I want to bring my first guest in here and see what he thinks. I think I have a suspicion, Waylon, that having a tire swing that swings out over the water on your island might be a nice source, a nice diversion for you. What would you think of that?
Yeah, it sounds astronomically luxurious.
It's more fun than you've ever had in your life.
More fun than I could have ever even conceived of before today.
Wow. What do we think? I mean, is there any way we could get a tire swing out to that island?
Oh, I think that would be lovely. Maybe we could just strap one onto you next time before you get chloroformed and just get it up there with you.
Perhaps.
You know, and I think for our social media, it might be quite fun to get some of those chimeras on our social media pages. I think that might be quite interesting for folks. So maybe we can do a little trade. I don't know what you're thinking.
Well, I would trade, but I have not got any possessions as you know, somebody who takes care of the chimeras as opposed to owns them.
Yeah, Mr. Pimford, I think, owns them, right?
Yeah, no, he owns them. And of course, if there were to be a tire on the island, he would own that too.
Right. Anything that comes onto the shores of the island is automatically his, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't get me wrong, I get paid. You know, this is I'm not a communist or anything like that. I of course worship at the altar of capitalism.
Of course.
I just have never seen my wages, is all.
And what would you do with them anyway?
Keeping them safe, right?
Right? Like, I would just give them back to my glorious leader.
Has anyone ever suggested to you that without seeing or being able to spend any of your wages, that you're essentially an indentured servant?
I've never heard those words before.
No? Okay.
What is that?
You might want to look them up if you can find a dictionary or anything on the island. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just think more people need to be like Mr. Waylon. I really admire you. I mean, this is really what we try to cultivate, because it's like family. Like I keep saying, you know, if your daddy asks you to mow the lawn, are you going to say, no, not unless you pay me, and then I get to do whatever I want with that money, and you get no say? No, you're like, Daddy, I want to make you happy. I'm going to help. You help give me life.
Sure.
So I'm going to pay you back. It's sweet. It's the way the world should be. You know, if more of us were like this.
Taking orders from the patriarch in our family, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really embracing capitalism. You know, we would just have less problems.
Oh, absolutely. I think my boss is my dad.
Makes sense
so that
to me.
sort of answers my previous question about the relationship you have with him.
I mean, I don't mean he's like my actual dad. I mean, like
I mean, you said God's servant at one point.
So
God's servant.
God King. I'm the servant of a God King.
I see.
You know.
But, you know, in your casual moments, you can kind of think of him as a dad, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
A dad who's
all of our gods are our dads.
Rarely ever there, right?
You know, I just know that this is exactly the kind of heart that we cultivate, not even intentionally, but just people are passionate, and that's what I hear is passion. And we love the passion.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, we always try to. Do you think there's any chance we could maybe get this guy off the island for one day, if only to attend that big party, that big Hogswood Cooper party? Because I think he could really benefit from that. Oh yeah, you weren't there before. We were talking about the Hogswood Cooper annual party, and since you're an employee of the company, you are technically supposed to be invited to that. Is that possible, do you think? You
know, I think anything is possible, Dean. But what I would say, you know, recently I had an experience where I had an indoor cat who went outside and was so overwhelmed.
I see.
It ran into the street and was killed.
Oh.
And my fear is with poor little Waylon.
I see it right away, yeah.
It would be it would be like letting an indoor cat outside,
Yeah.
and his poor little brain just wouldn't be able to handle it. So really, it's out of love.
I mean, I found him outside my studio just staring at the exit
That's
sign.
exactly
And he didn't seem to know what to
I'm
do
talking
with
about.
it.
It
You
was
know, it's
fascinating.
because we care, and it's because we love that we don't let him
Hmm.
off the island.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel the love.
Great.
See?
All right, that's it. Yay!